All right, folks, we're back, and I love people using this clip thing. I guess Super Mario SC clipped the bailing wall, put it on Reddit. So, good luck with your free karma, sir. It's certainly an interesting clip, but I love this clip system on Twitch. Like the highlights have really tickled my fancy. We haven't really had any super amazing games to clip through Ting so far, but I have really enjoyed the clip system in general, and I'm really glad that they introduced it. Plus, it doesn't matter that the VODs are behind a paywall or not. You can share your favorite highlights 30 seconds at a time, no matter what the channel is. I actually talked to some folks at Blizzard, I can't say who, but I said, you guys should really be promoting this for things like Pro League and whatever gets put on Twitch, right? Like, it's such a sick system. It's easily linked in Twitter. It's very clean and simple. And then, again, with the fact that it circumvents a paywall, just adds more hype to things.
Yeah, it's turned out to be a lot more impactful than I thought it was when it first was announced.
Yeah. Well, so we've been having some kind of issues with getting LabyRinth into the lobby. ByuN has been with us. Yay, ByuN. But LabyRinth has finally joined us after about 1 billion invites. So there we go.
All right, let's do it.
All right, TvT kicks off on Frozen Temple. I don't have intros because I am terrible. Let's just load in. By the way, so we were playing some Overwatch yesterday. Zombie out myself, Olimoleague, and a couple of BaseTradeTV people. And man, I really just a side note to like the fact that Overwatch is cool and it's new and it's fresh and cool and whatever. I've really just enjoyed how easy it is to get games with a lot of your friends, opposed to trying to play StarCraft with a lot of your friends. Like co-op you can only do with one person if you even have one person who'll play co-op with you. And then beyond that, it's like 4v4s are really not that interesting. Like, it's dumb how much you and I could carry a 4v4, and I feel like that shouldn't be the case. Like, you shouldn't be able to just like go Hellions and 1v4 people.
I saw your tweet and I felt a little bad because I never play co-op with you.
I know you don't. That made me sad too. But that was not what I was going at here. I'm just saying, like, I really love how easy it is to play with like a lot of people.
Well, yeah. I really wish it was. Well, I really wish I had any friends whatsoever who played StarCraft. So that's
Well,
whatever.
okay, man. It feels bad, man. I see how it is.
You would be very. I don't know if I could deal with you as like a training partner, man.
You're like, Rifkin, okay, I want to play macro and I need you to help me with my macro. I'm like, okay, cool. Proxy Reapers every time. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
we're gonna defend it. It's gonna be like a 20-minute game.
we are getting into game number 1 in the semifinals for the Olimoleague. It's about a minute and a half in for the intros. Hi, in the bottom right, it's ByuN. Well, I just realized he's on like an account named ByuN.
Yeah, not speak now. In the top left, as the red Terran. Yeah, it's LabyRinth.
He's got the Hell It's About Time portrait, so he actually name changed the account, I think.
Oh, okay, sure, that makes sense.
For those who don't know, like, we don't have a lot of extra of these portrait codes, but we still do have a couple of Hell It's About Time portrait codes. And because they're so rare, a lot of people really want them. So after ByuN played on BaseTradeTV for like 6 months straight, basically, I gave him one as like a, here, thank you for always giving us great games type thing. And what's hilarious about this is, A, it's a really cool portrait and whatever, but secondly, a lot of the other Koreans actually got jealous of it, which I didn't expect. And I had people like Arthur and many others messaging me, like, begging for the portrait.
It's a cool portrait. They should be jealous.
Hell yeah,
but
they should. Second rarest portrait in the game.
Maybe he took your, like, are you really ByuN thing to heart? And was like, oh, I tricked my friend. I should change my name. That should make you feel good. He thinks you're his friend.
Maybe.
Oh,
Mostly every time we talk and we make small talk, it's always ByuN telling me he feels really sick, and I was really bad. I'm like, dude, you're always sick.
Aw, that's too bad. We do have a 1-base versus what started off as a 1-base, but of course LabyRinth is standing on that command center now. So he actually gets wrecked to the front. Reapers do die, and that puts him at a pretty bad position for the defense. Okay, like a somewhat bad position. He does have a... Is that his 3rd Reaper? Yeah, his 3rd Reaper at home. And building more still. Oh, bye, SCD.
Yeah, that gets picked off. The fight on the ramp's a little bit awkward because that grenade ends up helping, but then hurting right afterwards. So, New Hellion joins that front line. Awkward fights are awkward. We've talked about this so many times before where, like, TvTs can have their entire games end this early depending on how this gets out of hand, but it doesn't. And LabyRinth actually handles it pretty well at a ByuN.
Yeah.
ByuN was also rallying everything because he wanted to just push in and tip this over and win the game.
It was close, but it still actually might be close. ByuN, of course, was committing just a little bit harder on that one base. So he even has a Liberator following this up. And if LabyRinth can't get down to his natural, it would actually be canceled by like a handful of units.
Yeah, he's repairing up the Hellion. I actually really like this. It's a small detail, but a very necessary one. That Viking needs to land and help this fight too. There is actually a Liberator, so maybe not. It's got to deal with this bad boy instead, which is not.
Okay.
Okay.
That happened. Yeah, come back, please, Viking. Like, what the hell? He might still lose SCVs in the main and his command center? No.
This Reaper rally's working really well. It's such a scrappy all-in out of ByuN, but I mean, it's working.
Wow.
GG. Game 1 goes to ByuN.
Remember, guys, just do that on ladder and you'll win all your games. Just like ByuN.
Like, I find myself in that sort of TvT far often less than any other version. Like, I'll see proxy Reapers before I see that, right? And I think that's part of what makes that so frustrating. There's not a lot of games where you're going to practice being on, what is 5 unit count. Like, not army supply, but you'll have like 4 to 5 units, period. And the question isn't like whether you got Hellions or not, because way back once upon a time, Hellions were automatically I win. Obviously not so much the case anymore.
Not so much. The next map's going to be King Sejong. Sejong.
Okay. Let me try. There you go. By the way, for those who don't know, going back on our discussion before about practice partner or whatever, Zymegrub and I have played a couple of best of 3s on stream for various different reward tiers, whether it was like for Kickstarter or just because we're bored during a DreamHack or fun, this, that, and the other. They're on our YouTube. You can totally look them up. And there's no cheating that ever goes on, but we do shenanigans. I do shenanigans. Dumb things happen. We pull SCVs. Like, it's... We actually went 1-1 in this series and determined game 3 by just saying, all right, pull all the SCVs at the start and see who wins. A move, hands off the keyboard. Like,
I hate that, because that... And you kept telling me that I was lying, and it's like, okay, zombie grub, okay, zombie grub. But I got that bug that stopped me from building an extra SCV. Like, I couldn't actually press the hotkey for SCV because I alt-tabbed at some point or something like that, and I was like, damn it.
But see, this is what I really enjoy. Like, the fact that we have taken those ace matches, like, the fact that first off, we'll go 1-1 and then goof around for the third one. Like, it's kind of everybody wins. No one's really super, like, mad, and I'm not rubbing results in your face 4 years later. Like, you know, it's just, it's always fun. I always have fun with those.
You mech, and that just never...
You're just like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's never good.
I will say, my favorite thing, though, Nathanius has this one VOD where the 3 of us were playing Archon mode together. It's got like 40,000 views on it. It was from the tournament that we got kicked out of for literally playing too well in. And it was myself, Zombie, and Nathanius playing a 3-man or 2-man woman Archon mode. And it was so much fun. I think that was probably my highlight of all the beta. No, I take that back. Our Masters promotion, where we beat the BM guy in Archon, that was my highlight of the beta.
We had a lot of good Archon games. That was back when we thought Archon mode was actually like... It is the shit, but unfortunately, like, it's not enough of the
Blizzard
shit,
has still not implemented a lot of the tools that they have in the game that could make it better.
If they would just implement that you don't have to have a partner right off the bat, I think it would be 100% better. And there'd actually be more people to face. Because that's the main problem we run into.
Queue times,
Yeah, queue times. And then running into the same person over and over and beating them is really bad.
Alright, well, real quick, sorry guys, bottom right, it's going to be the Blue Terran LabyRinth as we get through a StarCraft 2's talk show.
In the top left as the Red Terran, he is ByuN.
No, but I agree, queue times are one thing, but, I don't know, like, I really cannot begin to stress to you guys how frustrating it is to me to see a lot of the tools that are in co-op not exist for Archon mode. Like, again, something as simple as seeing where your ally's camera is on the minimap at all times. That'd be insane for Archon mode.
It really felt like they just gave up on Archon mode, despite
Right,
it
they were like,
being
let's push
so
it as
good.
being this awesome thing. We'll bring in Brood War Legends to show matches at BlizzCon and hype the fuck out of it, and then never touch it for almost a full year.
I'm still really salty because I think for me, obviously, I think the reason they don't want to, because okay, we're actually having like expansions come down. Makes me really salty is that I think they think if they implement like random queue, like if you get a random partner and you just get to like, deal with it, that the lack of communication would turn you off of Archon mode.
Disagree.
Which isn't true. Like the same thing happens in 2v2 and 3v3. Communication's always better, but it still doesn't happen all the time, and people still fucking play. But anyway,
that's my point though. If you've got tools, you won't need as much communication. If you can see where your ally's looking, it's not a question of like, are you macroing or are you microing right now? Because you're like, oh, I can clearly see your camera's on the other side of the map.
So that was my final point. My final point is that I think that like the opportunity to like have all the same fun you have in 2v2. So for me, either trolling, depending on what type of partner I get, like the type that's angry that I'm doing something stupid and then I just troll them all day, helping a person that's new and feeling good about myself, or just finding someone else who's like, let's just do something stupid and having a lot of fun with that, is all the things I like for playing team games. So I would love Archon mode to be the random person, but no.
Man, this whole cast has been a long list of I wish for StarCraft 2.
I love how we started off with like, you know what, Blizzard did a good job with the Warcraft movie, like a good enough job, like A+, or more like B+. But you know what, StarCraft, you got some things to fix.
All right, these fights get a little bit scrappy. It looks like it's not going to be too different than the last game, but ByuN's actually holding on to this really nicely.
Yeah.
Funny enough, more Reapers is more power because of the grenades in this, but not being able to get those hits gives ByuN plenty of time to not just get his army count up, Marines on the way, and of course Helling's coming out, but that Liberator on deck. But wait, is that Reactor? That's Reactor Vikings behind this.
Ooh, this is a terrifying push if he's setting up for what I think he is. Maybe not actually. This could be defensive because he's getting a third CC. There's these pushes that just
That has
I don't
to be
know why
defensive.
I don't do them, but like they come with like first 2 and then 4 and then 5 Vikings or some order of that, and they just take control. They bring like 2 tanks, not a lot of Marine fodder, but it doesn't matter because you can't reach the tanks ever. And they just like constantly encroach on your base. But yeah, with the third CC, I guess it's more like he's afraid that ByuN's gonna do something with like the back rocks maybe, or just like what we saw versus Protoss right in the front, and he tries to take that air control early.
They're both macroing, which I find hilarious after the way this started. But scanning from ByuN will confirm that there is the third CC finished up.
Yep. Well, ByuN has his coming down on location,
Yeah.
so this might be fine. I don't think LabyRinth is in too much of a hurry because he hasn't scouted ByuN's third.
He has still continued to produce Vikings, so we might see that count actually go up to 5. That's going to be a pretty big detail for ByuN to know about, but he does start his own Vikings behind this as well, which I find rather interesting. Cyclones were made. A small bug with a Cyclone right now with the cooldown on lock-on guys. Not quite what it's supposed to be, but whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. It's not like they can fix that instead of Lerma. Yeah. So the third CC is finishing up actually technically like, you know, in a way faster because it's actually on location for ByuN. As LabyRinth is like still unsure what's happening. He could be hit at any point with a 2-base build for all he knows.
This is kind of cool. I love getting aggressive with the Cyclone because this could have caught, for example, like a medevac or something, but it does get a free healing kill. This Liberator's still waiting to go into the main. There's a Cyclone looking for it.
Gonna miss it.
So
But,
there's some really fickle way this will work. Like the Cyclone can get the lock on and walk away and should be able to deal with it no problem. We'll see if he does, though, because he's busy focused looking on the front lines. So I guess if he's do go down from said Liberator and does have the lock on, one more shot would have killed it. Doesn't quite have it, so ByuN pushed back now.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Oh, geez, the donation coming in. That startled me, actually. Thank you, Alaska Winter 923, for the generous $20 donation. He says, Archon mode plus Trials of the Xel'Naga. I'm just saying.
And he spelt it like Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Thanks for the donation.
That would be funny because we saw how like how one person would struggle in Trials of the Xel'Naga when they did that. I wonder how
Oh my
two
God.
would.
Oh, that actually gave me like a really cool idea. Like, so he spelled it Saiyan, right? And this is either like Super Saiyan or like Final Fantasy Overdrive mode. But you know, I always talk about when Terrans are obviously losing, they go into Super Saiyan mode and try and win. What if we gave them a Super Saiyan button once they're down below like 15 SCVs after 8 minutes, something like that? Super Saiyan mode, go! And they gotta try and win within like a minute.
I would just intentionally not do anything then, and have just terrible macro side to be able to
I feel like that would
engage
go along
that.
the same lines as Bunny.
Yeah,
I got this great idea.
Okay, well, speaking of great ideas, Vikings landing to fight other Vikings. Cyclone gonna give him the edge on this fight, and ByuN, this is not normally how you take air control, but this is how you take air control when you're ByuN.
Yeah. Okay, well that was interesting, and I feel very
Stupid for watching it.
unnecessary. I don't know. Anyway, the upgrades are paired up well with each other. I mean, the supplies are definitely in favor with ByuN. I mean, he's taken the better trades every single time they have engaged, even if the engagements aren't really that big. And of course, he had that third CC on the low ground a little bit faster, but LabyRinth actually has a few more SCVs, so they've been trading off economy-wise.
That was
army supply.
That was too fun. That's too silly. I love that.
It was.
Normally we see like you're ducking in, you're ducking out, you're avoiding the marine fire, but nope, you just straight up land them in brawl style. But going forward, like continue to replace the Vikings he lost, not a bad idea. Of course, ByuN's still sitting on 5, not going too overboard with that. His upgrades start up. Both players' upgrades are pretty good. Combat shells, I guess, a little bit. Wait, is that behind or ahead? Behind for ByuN, actually. Ooh, that's a problem.
Yeah, I thought that was started a while ago, but I guess I just, flipped LabyRinth's combat shields with him, so upgrades were not entirely even on that front, but it looks like with this maneuver, by the time things actually come down to like Marines making any effect here, combat shields will be done. Vision, of course, is going to be gained by the Vikings. LabyRinth has probably a couple of scans at this point because they're both at very good SCV counts, so...
No, ByuN can't take this. He's got to get away.
He wants to snipe those Vikings.
Or the Marines can just come in and win him the fight.
Yeah, apparently. He also has scans. Like, they're both capable of actually just, for the most part, stop muling, have a lot of scans. But they're not quite there. This is a very odd Marine run-by. Doesn't have any medevacs.
He got hit by the tanks. I think he was trying to flank from behind while this went on. Not obviously going to work, but as he runs forward, the production line isn't rallied. Well, combat shields is done now. He can deal with the Marines. He might bleed out a couple of SCVs, but it shouldn't be too bad. Production kicks up. Lots of barracks. And the second factory coming down. Something we have to talk about is too costly for Terran to do in most scenarios, but pays back the SCV damage. So 8 for 9, not too bad.
That was really odd because ByuN actually scouted that walk by with a Marine out in the front. He just didn't notice. He was paying attention to the fight, I guess, so loses 8 SCVs. Oh well. That reinforcement line looks a lot better than LabyRinth, though. I mean, now ByuN is up about 20, 30 supplies, opposed to just 10, 15. Upgrades are pretty similar. LabyRinth did get a little bit of a head start, though, so that could play a part. I mean, as they both get ready to engage in the middle of the map, 10 seconds could actually be a big deal.
Only in like a perfect world where you're both making the same moves,
perfect.
but that's unlikely to happen. We'll see. The tank count for both is pretty big, but ByuN's is much bigger, and a lot of times it's Marines over tanks that matter most. But one of the tanks gets sniped off right away. Not a bad pickoff for LabyRinth to start that fight. But it's kind of funny how quickly air control just kind of got, they both just kind of shrugged it off.
Yeah.
This command center was trying to go down
weird.
location. I hope he cancels that. That would have been a lot of minerals to lose.
That is the least built command center I've ever seen.
Yeah, right?
The engagements actually aren't going that well for ByuN here. He just was trying to do one thing and LabyRinth kept cutting him off, so now it's ByuN's job here to stop LabyRinth from getting a good position in his natural and third base, and ByuN is going, I guess, to the back instead of just chasing after the Marines from the back.
Yeah, he did knock down his own rocks earlier, so he's able to walk the Marines in. Those tanks on the front line
Those
get
tanks,
obliterated
though.
by ByuN's tanks. Without any tank support, LabyRinth can't take this fight. Lost a lot of his army supply. Now suddenly down 40, and these medevacs may not even get out of this alive.
I don't blame him for seeing momentum. I saw some too, but ByuN's tank drops and tank numbers, I suppose, as well. Was just too good.
Let's be clear. If ByuN hadn't knocked down his own rocks earlier, he would not have defended that. Not the way he did, at least. Having the Marines be able to run back was one thing, but getting the tanks to just position themselves in a way where you knew you'd meet up with the Marines was huge. I don't know why those Marines didn't get picked up, by the way, but LabyRinth just bleeds them out. Now this is a really bad game for LabyRinth. He's not got a fourth base set up to go anywhere. He's going to maybe at some point have to float his command center over. But most importantly, he doesn't have the money right now to keep producing the same way ByuN does. I mean, the most cost-effective thing you can do is just not lose your army.
Yeah, exactly. If they both get maxed out, once again, LabyRinth has those upgrade leads, and he could take a very good fight, but he made one crucial mistake in that over-dedication, and is going to have to look for those little wins like before, but ByuN is pushing in a little too far already. He still has the high ground too, so LabyRinth only has so much opportunity to stop him from getting closer and closer to that third base. Whoa, that was really bold of ByuN. I don't know about that. He just drops into Marines and tanks.
Yeah, and one of the problems we talk about too is when you're doing that tank drop micro, you can't just unload them all and hope for the best unless you have significantly more, which he didn't in that case. So LabyRinth kind of evens up things, but still behind in terms of a fourth.
Yes. But now with even army supply, ByuN really thrown away quite a lot. I'm a little worried for him with those upgrades. Now it's not just 10 seconds, it's like a minute. And LabyRinth knows he took a good fight, so he's going to try and counter, try and stop this fourth base from turning into a planetary or an orbital, whatever ByuN is going to, and maybe steamroll after that if ByuN tries to defend. 3-3 is not quite done, though. And tanks are on the high ground for ByuN. So I guess he's a little worried about pushing in there. Could go around, although ByuN has his Zelnaga.
Upgrades are a pretty big deal, and his is so far out that LabyRinth will have a timing now where if he wants to push in and take a fight, he will have an advantage. But if ByuN gets to finish a planetary, if he's able to get those tanks unloaded ahead of time, all that goes out the window.
I could have sworn LabyRinth, I was trying to go take care of the Zelnaga. Oh, he got dicked over by the Vision. That was funny. He sent 2 Marines over there last time.
Yeah, but the upgrades end up being more amazing. Tanks being just kind of sacrificed for ByuN as he doesn't load a couple here into his opponent's tanks. LabyRinth and ByuN just trading out once again in the middle of the map. SCV's being pulled to repair. That's a lot of actually really damaged medevacs. Yeah, repairing these up might not be too bad of an idea. A couple Vikings for Vikings, but LabyRinth's the one who's still investing in them. He does manage to move his main over to the 4th base, so he gets back to mining. But this is not exactly a planetary and something that totally can be harassed.
Yeah, in some situations, I prefer an orbital as the 4th, because a planetary, it gets sieged up, it's going to go down, you can't lift it, and things just kind of snowball. But with an orbital, you can try and lift it.
The pros and cons to that, though, is like if your 4th base is getting sieged up this late in the game and your production and economy are as weak as they are, losing that 4th base is just, like, lifting is just as bad as losing it.
Well...
That Marine fight does not go well for ByuN. He waited for his 3-3 as well, but the tanks ended up getting some good shots at the end of it, so kills a lot of the bio.
That, once again, it's not a totally convincing fight, but it still has ByuN in the lead, so it really wasn't all that bad. LabyRinth... Oh god, the Sun Towers are so good. LabyRinth really trying to protect his 4th.
Balls are touching on the minimap, I'm just saying.
That's weird, man. Thank you for that.
That's the thing. It's like it's not gay unless you like it or something like.
Anyway, the Viking control is going to be really important in these types of situations where they are split in the middle of the map and taking this kind of, who has the air control, who has liberators.
Well, that's what's really cool. The liberator actually adds this extra element of being able to siege up the siege tanks, like who watches the Watchman type thing. But the Vikings, as we see, quickly remove them from the field. I actually really like the idea of liberators, and ByuN likes it too, so he's going to be making his own.
Yeah, he goes for a second starport, where LabyRinth was just, I think he had an idea, tried to make it work, but not really
nice.
Going hard on it. So he's starting to lose out more and more, bleeding out a lot here. He was at 15-20, now 30 army supply, catching up on those tank upgrades too, but of course more importantly, losing the Viking war and the liberators essentially being a problem. But this is a really good move. Gets into that.
Planetary.
This is where planetary is very useful.
Yeah, shreds a lot of the Marines. He's going to give chase to these two. Tanks probably to be focus fired on this one. Yeah, he's going to actually target them down as he starts winning this fight and pushes LabyRinth back. Finally, ByuN breaks out and takes a really good army lead.
Yeah, that's probably going to be game. I mean, it was a really good idea. He had almost enough to kind of snowball, and maybe if he had more tanks with it, he could have slowly sieged up the 4th base while taking control of that plateau.
Liberators.
I guess liberators would have always been the problem. Tanks actually weren't that much of an answer. I don't think it's sniped, but you can make more.
Liberators are certainly an interesting choice when it comes to this because of what we just saw, but also their mobility is a lot more limited than tanks when you consider things. But scanning the army, realizing just how far behind he was, LabyRinth chooses to tap out, and ByuN will take a 2-0 here in the semifinals and move on to the grand finals where he'll fight against Keen. ByuN versus Keen's gonna be another TvT, but I'm actually pretty excited for it. That's gonna be I feel like that's a game where we're gonna see some abrupt endings. Like, there's no way we don't have one of those like awkward over in 5-minute games, but it could be Proxy Reapers, it could be the Hellion Reaper combination. That's the thing about both of these guys. I know they're capable of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, we'll go to commercial break while we get things sorted. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Marijuana, for the 5-month resub. We'll see you guys soon.